I think by now pretty much everyone in the gun community knows about this Springfield Armory, Rock River Arms debacle going on in Illinois. And a lot of people have asked me, what do I think? What do I think of these two companies and their involvement in this new legislation? This legislation that would give a lot of state control to something that's already federally controlled and would put a lot of smaller manufacturers, gun shops, etc. out of business in the state of Illinois. Well, the way I look at it, you have to look at this one of two different ways. You either have to think that Rock River Arms and Springfield Armory are either trying to make the best out of a bad situation, trying to influence things from within, trying to make changes to the inevitable, trying to make it as good as possible, as it can possibly be, or they're complete and total traitors and assholes only looking out for themselves who don't really care about the Second Amendment. And in this case, I'm going to have to believe it's the second thing. Now, I've done a lot of looking into this, a lot of reading, trying to look at this from both sides. I think most people know that I'm kind of an asshole, but when it comes to seeing things objectively, I'm usually pretty good at that. And after looking at this, I'm just like, I can't see a positive outcome from working with this. So I will admit that sometimes you have to fight from within. Sometimes you have to put up with the short term to make long-term gains. But in this case, I can't see any long-term gains from going along with this, any long-term gains from going along with this. So I just don't get what they're doing. To me, this is akin to someone who was, say, a officer in the Nazi party saying, well, I don't agree with what we're doing, but I'm going along with it because, I can make more change in the position I'm in than I could if I was on the outside. No, I don't abide by that at all. I don't agree with that at all. I think that is disgusting. There are some things you just don't accept. No matter what happens to you in the short term, you just don't accept them. You stand up and you make a difference. And when it comes to this legislation, the two companies here, Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms, what they should have been doing is fighting this legislation, not trying to get an exemption for themselves, which they did. They donated money to senators or congressmen or whatever they're called at the state level. They donated money, paid lobbying expenses, etc., got some sweet deals for the lawmakers and got an exemption for them. They don't have to abide by these ridiculous laws that are going to put other people out of business. They did that for self-interest only. They didn't stand up for the main cause, which is the Second Amendment. So I have to say, they're the second thing, like I said before. They're just assholes and traitors just looking out for themselves. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they would never do this. Springfield Armory has such a long history in America, blah, 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 blah. No, the company that is now Springfield Arms has no long history in this country. They have no patriotic place in our history. They are just a company that imports cheap foreign guns, stamps a logo on it that they pretty much just bought at a flea market, and then doubles the price of them and resells them. That's all they are. They have no historical context with this country. They have no significance to us. They're just an import company. And in this case, they use their money to get themselves an exemption while supporting anti-gun politicians. Now, some people have said, well, they came out with a defense and said they didn't know what the Illinois Firearm Manufacturing Association, I'm going to say that wrong several times probably during this video here, but I'll try to get it right. They said, oh, we got no idea what they were doing. We had no idea. This is just an outside company that we donate money to, a lobbying group, and then we don't know what they do with it. But we found out now, and we're going to pull out completely. Well, that is total garbage. It doesn't make any sense. It's not even plausible. Now, I know it does happen sometimes that big companies donate money to other companies, and they don't know what those people do with it, or they have employees that do certain things on their behalf, and they're not even aware they're doing it. But in this case, the IFMA, the Illinois Firearm Manufacturing Association, or whatever it's called, it doesn't exist outside of Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms. They are the IFMA. The IFMA is nothing more than a P.O. box and a checking account. That's all it really is. It isn't a separate entity anywhere other than on paper. These two companies created this group so that they could donate money to politicians and to causes and to whatever, lobbying expenses, etc., without actually putting their names, their company name, or the names of their CEOs on the checks. That's the only reason this thing exists. That's the only thing it exists as. It is just an extension of these two companies. If you look at their donations reports, it's these two companies funding them. When you look at their physical structure, they're just a P.O. box and one guy who uses an alias to lobby, who actually works with Springfield Armory. So that whole idea that we didn't know what they were doing, that's garbage. It is you. You saying you're pulling out of them, it makes about as much sense as if I referred to one of the videos I made last week and go, I had no idea that Yankee Marshal guy was such a douche. I'm pulling out of him immediately. Or that actually probably isn't the best wording, but I'm just associating myself with him is what I should say. If I could pull out of myself, I'd be making a totally different type of video, making more money. But it just doesn't make sense. So as far as I'm concerned, Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms are completely complicit in what they've been doing. They're completely aware of what they've been doing. And now that they're caught, they're lying because it doesn't make sense. There's no way you didn't know what you were doing. Now, I wanted to end this video very dramatically by holding up, a Springfield Armory gun and dropping it in a garbage can, but I don't own any real Springfield Armory guns. The only thing I own from Springfield Armory is my M1A Scout. And if you think I'm dropping that in the garbage, you're crazy because I already paid for this gun, so I wouldn't be hurting anyone but myself. But, I will give it a finger wag and a stern look and shame it. Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. But that's about all I'm going to do to that. But in the end, if you ask me, I think Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms, like I said, were completely complicit in what they did. They were completely aware of what they did. And like other companies before them, like Bud's Gun Shop and Cheaper Than Dirt, they are now dead to me. Let's get your gun sock back on you. I'm not mad at you. I never stay mad at you. I know it's not your fault. Let's get you back in the safe before you get cold.